Ladies and gentlemen, with this particular story, it's really unique, and I know each story, I say that a lot, but this one is unlike anything that I've ever heard, but it does have a positive outcome, so we're thankful for that. But let me forewarn you guys, I'm going to give you guys some details that are probably going to disturb you. That's kind of the nature of this true crime channel, right? But if you can't handle that or my opinions, then it's best that you might need to exit the video, but that is your official disclaimer. 3 people have been arrested in the unusual case of this little girl by the name of Paislee Shultis. And I'm sorry if I don't mess her name up from time to time, if I don't pronounce it correctly. But they pled not guilty to child endangerment and custodial interference charges this week, according to people.com, which is where I'm getting this article from. So thank you very much. Kimberly Cooper Shultis on the right-hand side of the screen. Kurt Shultes Jr. is the fool on the left-hand side of the screen. And let me see if I can get the third of the trio. This disgusting individual that you guys see on my screen, that is the grandfather of the child from what I understand, Kurt Shultes Sr. All 3 of them were taken into custody in the Segurties, New York, New York. Monday, after authorities found Paisley, who had been missing since her parents lost custody of her in 2019, and this little girl was hidden in a dark and wet enclosure beneath a basement staircase. Let me say that last line again because I want, and I repeat myself a lot, because I want to make sure that people understand how insanely crucial this is. This little girl had been missing since 2019, 20, 21, 22. Nearing 3 years. This little girl was hidden in a dark and wet enclosure beneath a basement staircase. Look, guys, look, I'm sorry. There is no other way to describe this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just bring up a picture. I think I have a pretty good picture of this. Show you guys something. Let me show you guys this. I think I might have a picture without the baby's face on it. Let me see. I think I have a different one. This one. Okay. This one is probably the best look. So that way the little girl's face isn't all up in there, so you guys could just take a look at that. Do you see the rubber shoe? Do you see how dirty that is? Do you see how nasty that is? How disgusting that is? It looks like a burial ground. And they kept a human child hidden because the parents, the biological parents, lost custody of the little girl. So I guess they acted like they didn't know where she was. And look, how many times have I said this on my channel? And I know that people will email me after the story is over and they'll say, Jay, yous don't know what you're talking about. You don't have all your information correct. You were not there. I don't know what I'm talking about. The police got the information wrong. Even though they won't tell me what information is correct, but they always just try to tell me that I'm wrong. But I'm going to say this and say this again. And if we have anybody out there that's familiar with these cases, again, shout out to Lee, shout out to Kim. If you guys are familiar, tell me if I'm wrong about this. I keep saying when these children go missing, where there is smoke, that is the direction that you should look. There is fire. Where there is smoke, there is fire. If there is a custody case, you need to look at the people who were involved in the custody case. If there was child abuse, you need to look at the people that are accused of the child abuse, including the parent and the person that they were with, whether it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend. They both need to be investigated to the fullest. The houses need to be checked. Here's what I don't understand. Here's what I really don't understand. How they can, let me take this picture off the screen. I find it wild to think that they could go check rivers, they could check trash cans, they could check fields, they could check highways, they can stop cars from entering and exiting the premises, they can stop them, more or less harassing them, but I'm sure people understand that though, especially when it's a missing child. But you can't get a effing search warrant to search the house? How much effort would it take to get a cadaver dog? We get drug dogs all the time to search for drugs, but we can't search for kids? Ooh. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I have my information wrong. I think it is dire, and I think that it is okay to maybe violate in some situations when it comes to our kids, their privacy, especially when you're talking about a child that is missing and disappeared into thin air. Almost 3 years of this child missing. You said they searched and didn't find her. But let me also say this, because as much as I could point at the people who investigated, but let me say this and let me be fair. These people came up with a very clever way. I'll say clever. A very clever way to hide this child. I have never heard of hiding a human child under steps to make sure, like, I don't understand. Like, okay, so they lost custody, and then in order for you to make sure that you don't lose full custody of the kid, you cause them to live in a situation, in a circumstance like this, which could also potentially cause them to die? Do y'all see how disgusting that is? I don't know. Never heard of anything like this. Kimberly, the mother, who was 33 years old. She's 33 years old. Anyway, an arrest report from the Serenity Police Department says that she was charged with custodial interference in the second degree and endangering the welfare of a child. Both are misdemeanors. Let me say that again. Both are misdemeanors. Please, somebody let me know that you heard that I said that this was not considered a felony. I'll also say this again. Just because the child didn't die doesn't mean that the charges need to be lessened. I think this is a miscarriage of justice to call this a misdemeanor. Yeah, misdemeanors. 2 misdemeanors, but let's keep going. Kurt Jr., the father, who's 32 years old, Kurt Sr., the grandfather, 57 years old, were both charged with felony custodial interference in the first degree and misdemeanor endangering of the welfare of a child, according to the arrest reports. What did you guys notice was the difference between what the mother was charged with and what the fathers were charged with? Did you guys notice the difference? The mother got charged with second degree, 2 misdemeanor charges. The men got felony first degree charges. If we're going to be fair, we're not going to say women and men. We're going to just call them parents. Why would you not look at this as a collective of parents who both live here, who both participated in this, both knew about this? All 3 of them participated in the child abuse of a kid, a missing child. Why are they not all charged with felonies? I also use this example. If a person who's driving a car takes a person who's going to go rob a bank, and that person robs a bank and shoots and kills someone, he will be charged for murder, and the person who drove the getaway car will be charged with murder. That's over money. That's over insured money. Again, I'm pointing out a scenario, giving a synopsis of why I believe that they really screwed this up in charging one person with misdemeanors, but charging the men with felonies. That makes no sense. But let's keep going. Paislee had not been publicly seen or heard from since 2019 when she was 4 years old. I think she's 6 years old right now. Investigators long believed Paislee to be in the care of her non-custodial parents after disappearing, according to the Serenity Police Department. Detectives searched for Paislee in the home of Kurt Sr., whom they had reason to believe was housing her on multiple occasions, to no avail. He denied knowing her whereabouts each time. Monday evening, a search of the house began the same as before, police say. Kurt Sr. denied having seen her, and detectives struggled to find evidence of the girl inside the residence. Kurt Jr. was also at the home at the time that the warrant was executed and agreed that he did not know where she was. And I think that, like I say, maybe the search dog could have found this or not. I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't until just over an hour into the search that a detective noticed something strange on the stairs leading to the basement. He took a flashlight and looked between the cracks between the steps. Segurty's police chief, Joseph, Sinagra, told the WDSU. He saw what he thought was a blanket, and at that point, they used a Halligan tool, a forcible entry tool, and they started ripping the steps off the staircase itself. At one point, they saw little feet, as he put it, Sinagra said per the outlet. It was there in the makeshift room beneath the staircase that Paislee was discovered alive alongside Kimberly. Paislee's mother, father, and grandfather were arraigned this week, and each pleaded not guilty to the charges they faced, People confirms with an official at the Segurty's town court. Kimberly is scheduled to return to court on March the 2nd. Kurt Jr. and Sr. will return in late April, according to officials. Attorneys authorized to speak on the defendant's behalf did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Of course. Let me give you guys the fair usage, then I'll give you a little bit more about my personal opinions. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. All right, and I'd like to thank you guys who are here. If you would, do me a favor, make sure you guys click that thumbs up when you get here. If we can try to get one thumb up for everybody watching, it'll help share this story, bring more attention to it, and also let more people know that we're talking about this. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Here we go. Let's get it.
A mother covering her face as she heads into court. New details on the family accused of hiding a missing child for 2 years. And is there a possibility they could regain custody? Good evening. I'm Maurice Dubois.
And I'm Christine Johnson. The biological parents and grandfather of Paisley Shultis, the missing girl found hidden under a stairway in Ulster County, faced a judge today.
And as CBS 2's Ali Bauman reports, the disturbing discovery is bringing back memories for a Long Island woman who survived a similar nightmare decades ago.
Kimberly Cooper kept her face hidden Wednesday walking into Saugerties Town Court after making bail. Kirk Shultis Jr. and Sr. stayed silent as well on their way in. All three have been charged with child endangerment and custodial interference. We're told prosecutors are considering upgrading those charges or filing more. Police found 6-year-old Paislee Shultis and Kimberly Cooper, her mother, hiding beneath basement stairs in Sr.'s home on Monday. Cooper and Shultis Jr. lost custody of their daughter in 2019, just before the then 4-year-old went missing. Police believe Jr. and Sr. had been hiding Paislee and her mother in the house ever since. We do not know why the parents initially lost custody, but the police chief says their actions may have made it a lot harder for them to ever regain it.
Depending on what the deficiency was within the household that caused a judge to remove those children, there's a good possibility that they could have taken corrective action, and today they would have full custody of those kids.
But he says there could be a scenario where the family is reunited.
I am hoping that sometime in the future that the family has learned from this, and that with proper services put in place, that eventually the family will gain the right to actually get the custody of their kids.
Let me rewind that. I need to let y'all hear this again. They are hopeful that they can regain custody. Let me ask you guys a question for the people who are listening to this video right now. I'm going to look into the camera and I'm going to ask you guys. Do you guys think at any point in this natural life that they should ever have an opportunity to get custody of this child again? Y'all opinion. I will hold my opinion until the end. What do y'all think? What do y'all vote? Do y'all think that they should ever have access to this little girl ever again in this natural life? Let me let that play that again.
May have made it a lot harder for them to ever regain it.
Depending on what the deficiency was within the household that caused a judge to remove those children, there's a good possibility that they could have taken corrective action, and today they would have full custody of those kids.
That's one thing, but I want y'all to hear this next part.
But he says there could be a scenario where the family is reunited.
I am hoping that sometime in the future that the family has learned from this, and that with proper services put in place, that eventually the family will gain the right to actually get the custody of their kids.
He's hoping that they can get custody back. Why, Sway? Why? Why are you hoping that they'll get custody back? First of all, let's look at this. The fact that you had to do an investigation, number one, is already a big ass red flag. Second red flag is the fact that they were about to lose custody or did lose custody. That's number two. Number three, the fact that look at how they hid this child, lied about this child, abused this child. This little girl at 6 years old couldn't have been at daycare or at school. And I think about all of that and I say, and they go and hide this girl and lie about it with no conscience. And you think that they're going to change their ways? I want y'all to remember how old they are. The mother, I think what they say, the mother is 33 years old. The dad is 32 years old. And old senior Kurt Fart Sr. is 57 years old. So what are you going to tell me? Days was young, y'all. Days didn't know what they was doing. Days didn't know no better. They can learn their lesson. They can do better. Really? Okay.
Police say there are no signs Paisley was being abused. They believe she had her own bedroom in the home and hid beneath the stairs with her mother whenever cops came knocking.
Or even if she was only held under the stairs for 20 minutes. That is still scary.
Katie Beers was 10 years old in 1992 when she was at the center of headlines after being rescued from a bunker on Long Island. Beers was kidnapped and chained there for 17 days. The details of Paisley's case have made memories come flooding back to Beers. She spoke to CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff today and shared her advice for the grown-ups around Paisley.
She needs to just be wrapped in love. The best thing for her right now is to not be forced to talk about what happened, to be able to discuss what happened in her own time.
Paisley is now back with her sister and their legal guardian. Police say the child is in good health, but likely had not seen a doctor in the 2 years she was hidden.
Okay, so it just leaves a lot of questions for me as far as what the guardians, whoever the guardians are, when they lost custody, were they allowed visitation? How did they get access to the kid again? Did the guardians allow them to see the girl and they just didn't bring her back? There's still some stuff I don't know yet, but let's keep going. Yeah, I called him fart singer because he's an old fart. I didn't know if any of y'all caught that. I'm sorry. But anyway, let's keep going.
Well, new information tonight about what led up to the abduction of 6-year-old Paislee Shultes. After 2 years missing, the little girl was found earlier this week, hidden beneath a stairwell. News 12's Blaze Gomez has the latest from Socrates.
A former babysitter is now speaking exclusively with News 12 about the family court order that allegedly caused Paisley's parents, Kirk and Kimberly Shultis, to panic and take off with the girl to Socrates. The abduction case has made national headlines since the child was found alive Monday inside a locked box allegedly built to hide her from police beneath a stairwell. News 12 is told that custody was granted to the maternal grandmother in 2019.
So the maternal grandmother. Okay. And they said that they built this enclosure to hide the kid. But you know what's so funny about how clever that is? They went through all of that freaking trouble to hide this kid when you didn't go through all of the trouble of not losing custody of your effing kid from the jump. Instead of going through the effort of trying to circumvent the law, to skirt the law, why not just follow the law from the jump? Why not just take care of your kid properly from the start? Then you don't have to get to this point of feeling desperate. Or am I wrong?
After she raised concerns about the children's schedule and the parents' alleged drug use. The babysitter says Shultis Jr. owned his own paving company upstate and that his wife would often work with him. She says the parents couldn't afford childcare for Paisley and her older sister.
Namho Rede King Kyo. Namho Rede King Kyo. Namho Rede King Kyo. What the what? So you have an old fart living in the house, grandpa old fart, number one. Then you've got the mother and the dad in between, the three stooge dummies of parents. They couldn't afford child care. What were y'all doing for a living? Selling plasma? You had enough money to build a false staircase to hide a child, but you don't have money for daycare, for child care? What? God damn. I'm so surprised that some of y'all got that Tina Turner reference. Some of y'all are about as old as I am. They had no money for childcare, but you have money for building false stairs that after multiple occasions of coming to this house, apparently they did such a damn good job that they couldn't find the little girl. Jesus Christ.
And would often take the children on job sites until close to midnight. Online records show that Shultis Jr. had criminal troubles in 2019. He was arrested in North Carolina for methamphetamines, while the babysitter says the family was on vacation.
He was arrested for what? He was arrested for what? Let me back this up.
Schedule and the parents' alleged drug use. The babysitter says Shultis Jr. owned his own paving company upstate and that his wife would often work with him. She says the parents couldn't afford childcare for Paisley and her older sister.
Oh my Jesus. Shultis Paving. So he got money for this big old truck to start a business, but you don't have money for child care? Shultis Paving. Do y'all know how much money it costs to start your own business? Maybe to take out a business loan, to buy this truck, to buy the graphics, the LLC, or whatever else that it is that you need. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, but you can't afford childcare. But I want y'all to also hear what type of drugs that he was involved in. I want y'all to think about this before you talk about kids are expensive. Listen to what they said he was involved in.
And would often take the children on job sites until close to midnight. Online records show that Shultis Jr. had criminal troubles in 2019. He was arrested in North Carolina for methamphetamines, while the babysitter says the family was on vacation.
He was arrested for meth. So you got money for meth, but no money for daycare. Money for meth, but no money for childcare. Money for meth, but no money for babysitter. You got money for big ass trucks with nice signs and cigarettes and all this other bull crap. You got money for false stairs. But you know what? I'm talking too much common sense. How about I just zip it? I'm going to just shut my mouth and let the video play. Nothing I'm talking about is relevant. Just ignore everything that I just said.
Pennsylvania prosecutors say that Shultis Jr. pled guilty to home improvement fraud, served 2 months in jail, and was not compliant with the terms of his release while out on bail and on parole. Arrests that may have sealed the family's fate in court and prompted a frightening chain of events for the child that authorities say could have been avoided.
I understand, as a parent, nobody wants to lose custody of their children, but sometimes the right thing for us to do for our children is the hardest thing to do. And what they should have done back in 2019, when custody was granted to a third party, they should have relinquished the child rather than run and hide.
Paisley's parents and paternal grandfather are now facing criminal charges in connection with the girl's disappearance. The case is also under grand jury review for the possibility of more serious charges to be filed.
A 6-year-old girl who was abducted more than 2 years ago is found alive, hidden behind a staircase, police say.
And that's what we believed all along, is that they somehow had built something where they could hide the child, and that's ended up being what the case was.
Paisley Shultes was 4 years old when she was reported missing from Cayuga Heights, New York in 2019. Recently, police got a tip to search a home 160 miles east in the town of Saugerties, New York. This is what they found behind the stairs. After hours of going up and down them, one detective felt something was off and looked closer. Between the cracks of the boards, he saw a blanket.
And when they got more boards off, they found the little girl Paisley and her biological mother Kimberly Cooper hiding in that location.
Police say Paisley was abducted by her biological parents, Kimberly Cooper and Kurt Shultis Jr., when they learned authorities were going to remove the child from the house and given custody to a new legal guardian. They were arrested along with Kirk Shultis Sr. in connection with Paisley's disappearance.
I'm concerned about why our officers could walk up and down the stairs so many times and the child not make a sound, the mother not say anything. So I'm kind of concerned about what kind of information was conveyed to that little girl about the police.
Paisley, who was in good health, police say, wanted McDonald's after being rescued.
When our detectives were driving past McDonald's on 212, she got all excited and she said, "Is that a McDonald's?" And the detective said, "Yes, it is." And she said, I remember I liked McDonald's food. I haven't had it in so long. The detective just turned right around and went right back to McDonald's and went through the drive-thru. And
let me back that up. Like the dad's truck. Let me back that up.
McDonald's, and the detective said, "Yes, it is." And she said, I remember I liked McDonald's food. I haven't had it in so long. The detective just turned right around and went right back to McDonald's and went.
This little girl hadn't had McDonald's in so long. So was she being starved? Did y'all not have money for food? How can you not have money for the dollar menu? But you got money for cigarettes. You got money for meth. You got money for vacation. But I'm bringing all of these things up to remind you guys that that man is advocating that the parents at some point get custody of these children again to prove themselves to be good parents. Then they can get the kids back. If you ask me, they should never get custody back ever again for any damn reason. Let me skip to the next video because I'm getting more and more pissed off.
There is new information tonight in the case of the girl upstate who was found safe after being missing for more than 2 years. Her biological parents accused of abduction.
If y'all are glad that this little girl is alive, do me a favor and click that thumbs up. That's a good reason to click that thumbs up. Help share this video and click that thumbs up if you would, please.
Her appeared in court today. Richard Giacovas has the update and the charges they are facing.
Your name's Kimberly Ann Shultis. What's your date of birth? Okay, this is an order of protection.
Barely showing her face, Kimberly Cooper was served with an order of protection requiring her to stay away from Paisley Shultes, the same 6-year-old little girl police say she hid for more than 2 years.
You guys want to say anything?
No, thank you.
And I noticed somebody in the chat brought it up about summer wells. That's kind of my point. Remember when I talk about the smoke and there's fire, and you usually need to do a lot more investigating at with the person that last had the kid with the family. Search the house maybe a little bit better. But that kind of reminds me of Summer Wells' case also. But I'm just throwing that out there. And even like the missing California, the California boys, the brothers. Makes you think about that case also.
You can't say anything. Can you say anything?
I cannot.
His attorney.
There's pending charges.
So far, Cooper, along with Kirk Shultis Jr. and Sr., all leaving court Wednesday, face charges including custodial interference and child endangerment in a case that has sent shockwaves through the small upstate New York town of Saugerties. The now 6-year-old was reported missing in July of 2019. Recently, police say they began visiting the home of her grandfather dozens of times after an anonymous person came forward saying little Paisley was alive and well inside that home on Fawn Road. Police finally obtained a warrant and
so somebody saw something and said something, right?
Saying little Paisley was alive and well. July of 2019. Recently, police say they began visiting the home of her grandfather dozens of times after an anonymous person came forward saying little Paisley was alive and well inside that home on Fawn Road. Police finally obtained a warrant and got inside this week.
Orrin and Orson, thank you, the California City Boys. Orson and Orrin West. They found this little girl because somebody called in anonymously, and they said that we know that the little girl is there and she's alive.
Ultimately finding Paisley. According to a criminal complaint by a Saugerties police officer, Paisley Shultes was exposed to freezing temperatures for a significant amount of time in a makeshift space between a stairwell and screwed shut Bilko-style cellar doors with no way of getting out. That's where police say she was found, hiding with her mother.
Police here in Saugerties say that Paisley is doing well, but she still has to get acclimated to the outside world.
More breaking news now. An update on the case of the girl found safe after being missing for more than 2 years. Paislee Shultis was 4 years old when she disappeared from Cayuga Heights in 2019 after her parents lost custody.
She was located Monday night hiding in a secret space inside her grandfather's home in Saugerties, Ulster County. CBS 2's Tony Aiello live there with the latest details on today's court appearances. Tony.
Christine, Paisley's father, grandfather, and mother all made brief court appearances. They just wrapped up a few minutes ago. The mother, Kimberly Cooper, was brought into the municipal building after making bail. She said nothing on the way in, hiding her face and surrounded by a crush of cameras. Kirk Shultis Sr. and Jr. said nothing on their way in or out. Police say the men hid the fact that Paisley and her mom were living in Sr.'s home for 2 years while pretending that the mom and daughter were missing and that the father and grandfather had no idea where they might be. Saugerties police made repeated visits to the Shultis home, even looking around inside, but always leaving empty-handed, until a tip gave them probable cause to get a warrant. And during a search Monday night, a sharp-eyed cop noticed something wrong with the basement stairs. They pulled the stair up, and they found Paisley hiding in a secret space with her mom, Kimberly Cooper. Police believe the girl had been living in the home, not attending school for 2 years, and then hiding in that secret space whenever police arrived. The parents temporarily lost custody in 2019, and the local police chief says it's a shame they didn't work work within the system to fix the problems in their home.
We're not here to hurt them. If they had complied with that court order 2 years ago, depending on what the deficiency was within the household that caused a judge to remove those children, there's a good possibility that they could have taken corrective action, and today they would have full custody of those kids. Now, I don't know, again, what the deficiency was, so that may or may not be the case. I am hoping that sometime in the future that the family has learned from this, and that with proper services put in place by county social services, by the Ulster County Family Child Advocacy Center, and by CPS, that eventually the family will gain the right to actually get the custody of their kids, which is ultimately what we're looking for.
So the mother, the father, and the grandfather all facing charges of interfering with custodial rights and endangering the welfare of a child. The good news in this sad story is that little Paisley, now 6 years old, is said to be in good health and good spirits. Police don't believe that she was mistreated in any way, nor was she abused, but she wasn't going to school. She's 6, she can't read or write. She's now in the custody of a guardian with close supervision from Ulster County Social Services. The police chief, Joe Singara, told me,
I need to stop it right there. And I'm just curious, how many of you guys might have heard either this news article or heard what he just said right there? I'm going to back that up again because I want y'all to hear what I just heard. That is unbelievable that they even described it this way. They said that this little girl was not abused. Let me play that again. I don't want to misquote him. Let me play it again.
And the grandfather all facing charges of interfering with custodial rights and endangering the welfare of a child.
Here we go. Listen here. Listen at this part.
The good news in this sad story is that little Paisley, now 6 years old, is said to be in good health and good spirits.
That part is good. That's good. But listen to what he says right after that.
Police don't believe that she was mistreated in any way.
Police don't believe that she was mistreated in any way. Police don't believe. Come on, guys. Look, I need to hear from my mothers out there. I need to hear from my mothers out there. Does that sound correct to y'all when y'all heard that? The police say that they don't believe that there was any abuse. Let me back that up again.
Custody of their kids, which is ultimately.
And the grand interfering with custodial rights and endangering the welfare of a child. The good news in this sad story is that little Paisley, now 6 years old, is said to be in good health and good spirits. Police don't believe that she was mistreated in any way.
So hiding a child under a staircase that you built, that she was in for a prolonged amount of time to the point where she don't even remember what a McDonald's looked like. That's not mistreatment or abuse? Really? Running from the law is not abuse? Involving a child? Really? Lying to the police about the whereabouts of a missing child when the entire world is wondering where this baby is? Really? Okay. I guess that's not abuse.
Or was she abused, but she wasn't going to school.
If I'm wrong about this, and maybe Lee can let me know. I thought, don't they actually arrest parents if you don't make your children go to school or have proper daycare, proper care for your children? Am I wrong about that? Don't they actually get parents in trouble all the time for the parents who are irresponsible with their kids, or if the kids are being irresponsible and they don't attend school, if they're not in school, if they're not enrolled in school?
She's 6. She can't read or write.
She can't read or write at 6 years school age old.
She's now in the custody of a guardian with close supervision from Ulster County Social Services. The police chief, Joe Singara, told me that the detectives had been in touch with little Paisley and that she seemed to be in good spirits.
I'm stopping the video right there. This story is dumb, and anybody who is not outraged by this, the fact that the parents could potentially get custody again, the fact that the mother is getting charged with a misdemeanor while the dad and grandfather are getting charged with felonies, they all participated in this. They all are guilty. They all are culpable. They all participated. They all abused this child. They all hit this child, lied about this child, and traumatized this child. Stunted this baby's growth. They all should be held accountable. But unfortunately, the mom didn't already bailed out because her bail was probably low as hell. I'm probably sure she had like a $3 bail or something like that, since the police want to reunite this family so damn badly, right? They want this little girl to be back in the custody of these people who have been around drugs and meth, according to their own words. This man couldn't afford to properly feed his kid, couldn't afford to have proper daycare for this kid, even though he can afford big ass trucks with his LLC name on it and stuff like that. He can afford to build false stairs for his kid, to hide her, to lie about it. Got money for all of that. Got money for cigarettes. Look, man, this dude is a piece of crap. The mom is a piece of crap. Grandpa Old Fart is a piece of crap. This whole story, these people are just a bunch of hood billies. That's what they are. This is an incredibly stupid story, and the only thing that came out positive in this story is that the little girl survived. This is child abuse. Plain and simple. Thank you guys so much for listening to this story with an open mind as well as an open heart. And we are glad that they found her, but nonetheless, they need to call it what it is. And I don't know why they're trying to protect them so much, but nonetheless, I think that's disgusting on the police's part. If you continue to keep handling cases like this with soft kid gloves, then guess what that's going to encourage? That's going to encourage more people to be emboldened to do crap just like this, if not worse. So think about that. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, real quick, I wanted to say thank you for the groups on Facebook who allowed me to share this content out there, because it's kind of a slow process. I'm trying to kind of learn some of the people who will allow me to share my content, so I'm trying to do that as much as possible. But I'd like to say thank you to those who have a focus on missing children, which is a whole different section of the true crime community. So I'm really, really blessed that they are so helpful. And be able to allow me to share these videos. Let me tell you guys about this story. This story is going to have some details that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. And my commentary might bother you as well, but that is your disclaimer if you need to exit the video. But I think these children deserve to have their stories told. Their stories deserve to be heard by the world. And I know that it might be difficult to hear what they had to live through, but nothing is more important than what they had to go through. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that. So in this story, and I'm getting this from thesun.com, so thank you for the article. And it says a grieving dad hit out at child services and said that he was sorry he couldn't save his 4-year-old daughter who was found dead on Friday. Dave Justice's daughter by the name of Serenity McKinney. Let me see if I can get a solo shot of her. And she's such a precious baby. Y'all see this? And thank you also Illicit Deeds. Give a shout out to Illicit Deeds on Facebook as well as Illicit Deeds on illicitdeeds.com. Thank you so much. And Kimberly Flower, give you a shout out as well. Thank you for the shirt. If you see something, save something. You could save a life if you see something and report it. Even if you're wrong, at least let them do the investigation, right? So we were fortunate enough that somebody saw something and said something with Paisley Shultis and was able to save that baby's life because she was missing for almost 3 years. And unfortunately, this missing baby wasn't so lucky. So let me tell y'all about this story. They revealed that they had not seen this child since Christmas of 2020 after her mother cut ties with everybody. Serenity's mother, by the name of Catherine Abby McKinney. That is such a beautiful little baby, man. Let me see if I can get the mother's face up here. Wow. Look at this hard-boiled egg face looking woman on the left-hand side of the screen. Good Lord. Woo. Boy, I mean girl, or sheesh. This woman looked like they pulled her out of a sauna and arrested her immediately. Like her face looks dehydrated and boiled at the same time. Serenity's mother, Catherine Abby McKinney, and boyfriend, Dakota Hill, were arrested and charged with murder and abuse of a corpse on Saturday. That dude looks like a creep. Like he looked like he should star in the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre with that. He just got a serial killer looking face to him, if I'm not mistaken. He just looked like a crazy dude. I haven't spoken to Abby, Justice told The Sun Friday night. Unaware police have found his daughter's body in a wooded area of Bullitt County. Bullitt County, Kentucky. For some reason, every time I call or try to set a video visit up, I get voicemailed every time, and that's according to the biological father. And I have an interview from him. I'll show that here so you guys can see that as well. That's what she did to everyone while she lived with Hill, family members said in previous interviews. The abnormal behavior led family to believe that the young girl was in danger and reported her missing to police in Shelby County, which is about an hour away from where Serenity was found. The dad, Justice, wrote a Facebook post addressed his baby girl. "I'm sorry I failed you as a dad," the doting father wrote. "I wasn't there to protect you, let alone rescue you. I don't know what they put you through, baby girl, but I want you to know that daddy loves you, always loved you, and will never stop. I will do all that I can to be able to ensure that I see that beautiful face again when it's my turn to come home." That is heartbreaking. I'm going to read that again. The biological father said, "I will do all that I can to be able to ensure that I see that beautiful face again when it's my turn to come home." If that's not heartbreaking, I don't know what is. God has gained the most beautiful of them all. A vigil is planned for Sunday, and a GoFundMe was set up to help the family with funeral costs. Let me go ahead and get this GoFundMe up here. I don't think I pulled it up. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But I will show you guys the GoFundMe. Give me just a second. Let me get that pulled up here. So anybody who wants to know the location of the GoFundMe, I'm going to put that on the screen for you guys. Give me just a moment. So we're kind of working on the fly right now. So this is Serenity McKinney's GoFundMe. So if you guys are looking for it, they are asking for $25,000. $25,000. They've collected so far 3,000. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to turn my phone off. They so far have collected $3,801. Guys, let me tell y'all this, and I know I'm gonna be a jerk when I say this, but I think it's so crazy that we're willing to put money into a burial of a child, $25,000, but we won't invest that type of money into a living child. We won't put that type of money into a child who's living. We won't put that towards their college education, to their future, to a trust fund, to making sure that they have on nice clothes and shoes and food and beds and toys and games and education, tutors, right? We won't put them in advanced classes, send them on school trips. But if they die, and I don't mean Dad, I think Dad might understand where I'm coming from. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll be pissed. Maybe he'll do like the dozens of other people who will come and email me and ask me to take my damn video down because I was being disrespectful. But I think a real father, just like I am, would understand that it just sounds so wild to ask for an amount like $25,000 and we weren't spending that type of money on our living children. In my humble opinion. I've already given you guys my disclaimer if you need to exit the video, but that's just my personal opinion. But nonetheless, that's where the GoFundMe is. So let's continue this story. Hill and McKinney are in jail in connection with Serenity's death, but CPS is just as responsible, according to the dad. That's the biological father. I will show you guys his interview here in just a moment. And he has a really heartfelt interview. I really liked his interview, to be honest with you. In 2021, Serenity's grandparents and Justice said that the Kentucky Child Protective Services were called twice to check on the young child, and both times the cases were closed without a caseworker physically seeing Serenity. That makes absolutely no sense. They closed the case and never laid eyes on the child, according to the dad. That can't happen. That should be an arrestable offense. That should be considered lying or perjury. Should it not? Who was the caseworker responsible? Should they not be arrested? If that were the case, I don't know. I'm just going off of what he's saying. If that's the case, that's inexcusable. He said the cases were closed without the caseworker physically seeing the child, never laid eyes on the child. I just want people to realize this, and I'll keep reiterating this, that CPS did not do their jobs. They never made physical contact with my daughter and still closed the case. If that's really what the reality is, he could win a big lawsuit. And it still won't bring his child back, but nonetheless, he still would deserve it. Kentucky CPS said in an email that they can't comment because of the privacy laws and declined to comment about how their procedures work. That secrecy is one of the fundamental flaws of child protective services in the United States, said Richard Wexler, the executive director of National Coalition for Child Protection Reform. And I've actually said this also. I think that when the police come and asking CPS questions, they should get answers, at least the police. And then the police should decide whether they want to release that information to the public or not. I know that they want to allegedly protect children, but to withhold information from the police, the people who, if something goes wrong, need to have the power and need to have the warrants to go get the kids, they have no power if CPS doesn't give them the information. And that's where I think things need to change. That needs to be a real transparent line between what we can tell you and what we can't. And too many times they just flat out say we can't tell you, and that I just don't think it should work that way. He said he didn't know Serenity's case specifically, but not making contact with a child is a consequence of an overburdened CPS system. But is it though? Is it? Is that a consequence of an overburdened system? Or is that just some lazy SOB who flat out did not do their job? So what the hell is CPS doing? They're just signing papers and just moving on? Bare minimum, if you're supposed to make a visit, the thing, even if you go there and didn't lay eyes on the child, you could have at least put that in the report and say, hey, I didn't see the kid wasn't there. Put it in the hands of the police then. If CPS is overworked, then put the power in the police's hands, right? No, but here's what they want to do. They want to keep all of the power, but want none of the blame. That's not how that works. That's not how accountability works. You don't get to keep power and then say, hey, we're not culpable for this death. If you didn't lay eyes on this kid twice and reported that she was okay twice, how do you know? It's almost kind of like, I hate when people set up GoFundMes for missing children. They don't have a body. They don't have an autopsy. They don't have anything. They have nothing but be asking for GoFundMe money. Not in this case, but I'm saying in other cases. It's just as bad. But let's keep going. There are conservatively about 7 million calls of neglect or child abuse in a year, but only about 3,000 involve children who are in immediate danger. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, he said. When you have overburdened caseworkers, they likely did a drive-by casework and never laid eyes on the child. That makes absolutely no sense. So what was the effing point of driving by there if you're not going to see the child? Ring the bell. Demand to see the kid. It took all the effort of you getting your fat ass out that chair, getting in the car, driving over there, just to be like, and then drive off. What? It wouldn't have taken you any more or less time to say, hey, let me see the kid. Oh, won't let me see the kid? Put it on my report. Have a good day. Didn't see the kid. Kid's not okay. Let the police do their freaking job. Since you apparently don't have time to do your overburdened freaking job. Here's what I'm tired of when it comes to CPS. And again, I want you guys to remember that this burden, I still believe, falls on the biological mother and biological father, because that's where the failure starts and that's where most of the blame should be, because those two individuals should be the ones that take care of these kids. It is not up to the responsibility of CPS, Child Protective Services, and the police and these foster homes to raise your kids. That is our responsibility. The system is there as a fail-safe to help. That's it. But to flat out not do your job and not lay eyes on the kid, inexcusable. That's inexcusable. Let me skip to the next part here. Just days before police found Serenity's body, the dad received a cryptic text message claiming that his daughter was in a suitcase. I know someone who knows where your daughter is, a woman texted Justice at about 2:37 a.m. on Wednesday. It was the worst thing anyone could possibly hear in my shoes, he said Friday, without knowing police had found his baby girl's body. She messaged me again 12 hours later, still harassing me, he said. I think it's an account being used kind of as like a patsy for a real person, but I can't say who it is for sure, but I believe she knows who has her. Kentucky State Police, which took over the case, said they couldn't comment about specifics about where or how Serenity was found. They said it's part of an ongoing investigation. Bullitt County Medical Examiner's Office is currently conducting an autopsy, which they say it could take some time. And we hope to get an answer on that pretty soon. But let me give you guys the fair usage, and then we'll go from there. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. All right, thank you so much. If you guys would do me a favor, if you listen to this video, help us by sharing this video and clicking that thumbs up. It brings more attention to these stories and shares the memory of this baby, and maybe we can prevent these things going forward and use these as cautionary tales. So help us out, click that thumbs up and share this, okay? Let's get it.
A sad ending over the weekend in the search for Serenity McKinney. Kentucky State Police announcing detectives discovered
the body of a missing 4-year-old Shelby County girl has been found. Serenity McKinney's mom, Catherine McKinney, and her boyfriend, Dakota Hill, are now charged in her murder.
Serenity, as you might remember, was reported missing earlier this month by extended family who hadn't seen a little girl since December of 2020. WLKY's Manoj Kwangari shares how news of finding her body is sitting with that community.
It was absolutely gut-wrenching.
Kate Gibbons has been following Serenity's story since she was reported missing on February 2nd. At first, she had no idea who she was, but there was something about the story that caught her eye.
We had seen the post for Serenity on the Kentucky police page, and there didn't seem to be much traction.
So she created the Serenity McKinney Missing Facebook group, and through it, she was able to provide support to the family while they searched for answers, donating candles for a prayer vigil and raising money for t-shirts. She even set up a shrine to Serenity in her home.
We decided at that point, you know, this little girl, her face needed to be out there, and we were going to do whatever we could to get her face out there.
But unfortunately, the story did not end as she would have hoped. 16 days after being reported missing, Serenity Ann McKinney's body was found here in these woods in West Point. But police say the clues that led them to this area have now sparked a new investigation.
Just from the facts and evidence that the investigators were able to pull in together, they were able to charge Catherine McKinney, Serenity's mom, and her boyfriend Dakota Hill with murder and abuse of a corpse.
In addition to those 2 Bullitt County charges, the pair each still have a pending charge of custodial interference from Shelby County.
Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Obviously, they'll have their day in court. We've got some more work to do. It's not a done deal. You know, our hearts goes out to the family. At least now, some answers are being answered, and they can begin the next process, the healing process, which
I'm sure he meant some questions being answered, but let's keep going.
We begin tonight with the disturbing new details in the search for Serenity Ann McKinney. The 4-year-old from Shelbyville was discovered dead in a wooded area on the Bullitt-Jefferson County line.
I need to read this real quick, and I do appreciate Lee Hellinger in my chat. And of course, I've shared with you guys before that she is our resident expert, and she spent so many of her years in career in helping children and getting justice for our children. And she said that I was a CACU detective in Louisville, and CPS was in our office. I don't understand how this happened. CPS has obligations to report to us, so I don't know how this happened.
Investigators say tips and technology led them there, and tonight the Shelbyville community is reacting to the news. That's where Bobby McSwine picks up the story.
It's sad. It's gut-wrenchingly sad.
Tasha Crouch lives in Shelbyville. She didn't want to be on camera, but says the news that 4-year-old Serenity McKinney was found dead is devastating.
The loss of life for this innocent baby is uncalled for. It should have never happened.
KSP says around 2 p.m. Friday, detectives found Serenity's body near the 1300 block of Skyview Road in West Point, near the Jefferson-Bullitt County line. The area is wooded, with several winding roads and valleys. There weren't many houses in the area, and I only saw a few cars pass by. Serenity's mother and her boyfriend charged with her murder and abuse of her corpse.
Abby McKinney and Dakota Hill are here at the Shelby County Detention Center after being extradited from Kansas, originally charged with custodial interference.
Family and friends have remained hopeful that Serenity would be found safe. Kentucky State Police Public Information Trooper Scotty Sharp says it's a heartbreaking end to the search.
These types of cases are the hardest. They're the ones that you can never get out of your mind. Especially if you're a parent and you go home and look at your children, you just, it's tough.
Crouch feels the same. She has 3 kids herself.
If you're a parent, it has to touch your heart.
Living in Shelbyville for 6 years now, she knows how close the community is and how much everyone prayed for a better outcome.
A lot of people are broken down over this. I've spoke to a couple of girlfriends and they're like, did you hear? Did you see?
Sharp says it's the community that's to thank for helping the case gain attention.
It takes a community. This really touched on the heartstrings of everyone, and we appreciate all the support and help that they have given us.
And to Serenity's family, Crouch says,
I'm sorry. My heart grieves for y'all's loss.
In Shelby County.
Now, for those who are asking what the cause of death was, they're still doing an autopsy with the coroner. They have not released that information just yet, but I'm sure they probably will soon. So if we can get some more significant answers, we'll probably do a follow-up with this story. Or again, we do have a pretty good size true crime community. If anybody else does that, make sure to just Google search the stories. People we've talked about, again, like Kimberly Flower, Illicit Deeds, so many other different people that are in the true crime community. You could also check their channels or just check the news and see if they'll update that here in like the next week or two. We're hoping to get some answers. So this is still relatively brand new.
Begin tonight with big developments in the search for a missing 4-year-old girl from Shelby County. Police now confirm Serenity McKinney is dead and her mother is charged with her murder. Detectives found the child's body yesterday afternoon. They say the investigation led them to a wooded area near Skyview Road in West Point. That's about an hour away from Shelby County on the Bullitt-Jefferson County line. Abby McKinney, Serenity's mom, and her boyfriend, Dakota Hill, have been charged with murder and abuse of a corpse. Right now, the investigation is still underway, and Bobby McSwine is following every single development. She's live in Shelby County tonight. Bobby, do you know where Abby and Dakota are right now?
Yes, Shay, they're here at the Shelby County Detention Center. They were originally charged and arrested in Kansas for custodial interference, but now they have been taken back here to Kentucky being charged with murder and abuse of a corpse, like you said. Now, the KSP says Serenity's body was found near the 1300 block of Skyview Road in West Point, near Jefferson Bullitt County line. The area was wooded with hills and valleys. There weren't many houses in the area, and I only saw a few cars pass by. KSP says the investigation took about 17 days. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office contacted KSP a few days after receiving the missing persons report from McKinney's family at the end of January. Family and friends have remained hopeful that Serenity would be found safe. KSP PIO Scotty Sharp says it's a heartbreaking end to the search.
These types of cases are the hardest. The ones that you can never get out of your mind, especially if you're a parent. And
I know we've heard him speak a couple times. I'll try to avoid some of these videos that repeat, but I'm trying to make sure that we get as much of the news information in here as possible, because I'm thankful that these news stations are even doing these videos and continue to putting children at the forefront. Because I'm going to tell y'all, one thing that bothers me is when I try to do a Google search for these stories on YouTube, and you pull up a child's name that should be heard. I think all of them should be. But it's really heartbreaking when you can't find one single news website video that posted these stories. There have been a number of times where I just have to tell the story myself. So I'm thankful that they do have these videos out there. But like I say, some of them will have some repeating information. So I'll try to get as many of these in here as possible.
Well, tonight here on The Rant, you know, the governor's heart may be at 6 after immeasurable loss. 4-year-old Serenity McKinney's father and grandparents say they are in mourning after the young girl from Shelbyville was found dead Friday afternoon. The family speaking to WHAS 11 News exclusively today to make sure Serenity's memory lives on.
So right after this video, I'm going to go ahead and play the biological father's interview. If you guys want to hear that, let me know. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if y'all want to hear from the biological father, because I think he did a really, really good interview.
Their fight for justice is continuing.
She'd constantly grab my hand. Like, I'd always have a keychain with the Lord's Prayer on it, and she would never let it go.
Following up a story that developed over the weekend. Tonight, detectives, family, and community members are still waiting for the autopsy reports following the discovery of 4-year-old Serenity McKinney's body. Police discovered her body on Skyview Road in West Point, Kentucky on Friday afternoon in a wooded area near the Bullitt-Jefferson County line. Tonight, WHS 11's Gabrielle Harmon walks us through the next steps in this high-profile case.
On Saturday, Serenity Ann McKinney was found dead about 50 miles from Shelbyville in a wooded area on the Jefferson-Bullitt County line. The autopsy was completed Saturday morning in Louisville. Right now, Abby McKinney, Serenity's mother, and her boyfriend, Dakota Hill, are behind bars with bail set at $1 million, both charged with murder and abuse of corpse. Family members tell WHAS 11 they have yet to speak with the two and that other family members are currently on the way to Shelby County where funeral arrangements will be made as soon as the coroner releases the little girl's body. Community members say they are devastated that something like this would happen in their community, while police credit a team effort for finding answers in the case.
We appreciate all the information that the community has sent to Shelby County Sheriff's Office, the Attorney General's Office, and it's KSB as well. I mean, you know, it takes a community. This really touched on the heartstrings of everyone. And we appreciate all the support and help that they have given us.
Results from the autopsy could come today, or it could take several weeks. While the family awaits the news, they are planning a balloon release for Sunday here in Shelbyville in honor of Serenity. Both McKinney and Hill are expected to be in court on March 2nd. In Shelbyville, Gabrielle Harmon, WHAS 11 on your side.
How are you feeling right now?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the biological father. His name is Justice, if I'm not mistaken. I think his name is Justice. Dave Justice. I actually know a baseball player by that name. But nonetheless, I'm going to let this play out. This video is about 6.5 minutes long, so I'm going to try to let it play out. Here we go.
So honestly, one of the hardest questions I've been asked as of lately. Right now, the only thing keeping me going is just the fact that not everybody's behind bars per se, as I'd like to say. I'll allow my time to grieve at that moment that I know that everybody is held accountable that had a part in this.
Can you tell me a little bit about Serenity? She seems like such a bright light, but describe her personality, what you loved about her.
My favorite thing was just her mean mug right out the gate. I love that because she just like anytime she was nervous about somebody or something, she just give them that look, and I always loved that about her. But overall, she was just really bright and outgoing. You could tell that there was a heck of a future ahead of her. Just breathtaking.
What was going through your mind when you first saw her, when she was born?
Me and her were the only two people in the world. My grandma used to tell me the same thing, like she said when she held me the first time, that it was like everything else in the world just disappeared with me and her, and I never knew what she meant by that up until that moment that I got to experience it. Just true love.
And what happens now? What are you guys doing now to keep her memory alive?
We're gonna have a vigil this Sunday, and as I've made a post online, anybody is encouraged to come because I'm trying to let my baby girl know that we know she's in heaven.
You mentioned about being grateful to all of the people who tried to help.
Most definitely. The community, like, I really do appreciate it because I'm all the way down there in Florida and I'm restricted, like at a high level of my, being able to be here wise. And I do want to thank my family first and foremost, and the immediate family, because they were up here working night and day. And I'm even going to give credit to the Sheriff's Department because they did an excellent job with their police work.
We had talked a couple weeks ago and you said, you know, you trusted Abby.
I did.
So what was it like finding out Friday or Saturday?
I collapsed and I couldn't move, if that says anything. I literally couldn't move. Like, my job is an incredible job, and they helped me out tremendously during this as well, because I did nothing, but I was in the middle of my shift and I just collapsed. And it's not a feeling I've ever felt before in my life.
What's your favorite memory of Serenity?
Anytime that I would be with her, she'd constantly grab my hand. Like, I always have a keychain with the Lord's Prayer on it, and she would never let it go. I always sit right next to her every time. Never let my hand go.
Is there anything looking back that you would want her to know?
I wish I could have been there more. That's the main thing. But now my chances is taken away, and I was working so hard. I was working so hard.
Trying to get back to her?
Yes, put her in my life again, because I wanted that. I was not going to let my child grow up without a dad. It was not happening. It wasn't. And I moved away from everything that I knew here in Louisville. I moved away from it for that reason exactly. And I got away from it, and I stayed away from it no matter what. No matter how much I wanted to come back, no matter what, I stayed away, and I wanted to get on my feet. And that's exactly what I've been doing. But now, like, not only did she get robbed of a life, but I got robbed of my chance to be able to be an actual dad. And that is not cool.
Why is it important to you now to talk and to keep her memory alive?
Because justice hasn't always been served. And that is the main thing. That is my main goal out of anything. I'm not gonna rest. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna keep pushing until justice for my baby girl is served up.
What do you guys think about that so far? You can post your comments in the comment section. What do you guys think so far? What do you guys think so far? Let's keep going. It's a little bit more left.
And if there is a death penalty, whatever anybody played role in, I want to push for that, and I will be behind it 100% to the best I can.
Let me let y'all hear that part again. Very important.
Whatever part, I'm not gonna keep pushing until justice for my baby girl is served up. And if there is a death penalty, whatever anybody played role in, I want to push for that, and I will be behind it 100% to the best I can. Because this is a living nightmare.
Injustice to you is what?
The right people being held fully accountable. Not just the two people behind bars.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
I just wanted to ask you what having the support of all this family around right now, how much does that mean to you?
It means a whole lot. It's the most important thing that anybody could have right now, and I'm lucky to have it. God's blessed me, and He'll continue to bless me and my family. Especially now that we got an angel up there. It's the most beautiful angel ever.
Are these some of your favorite photos of her?
Yeah.
Can you just kind of show them and kind of just, is that the mean mug?
Yeah, that's the mean mug.
That's the mean mug that he was talking about. That's cute. Man. Boy, what can I say? What can I say? Let me tell you guys this. This is the reason why I think a lot more of us need to continue to say that having children outside of wedlock is such a detrimental thing to children. It brings the children to a world that is unstable, and it's already hard enough to raise children inside of a marriage anyway. But to try to have two different households, two different sets of rules, you know, with people trying to date and work and live life and still deal with each other is a very, very difficult thing to do. And I think that the only people that are going to continue to get hurt in these situations with us having children outside of wedlock, either we need to do it the way that we used to do it back in the day and wait until we get married and have kids and have some stability, have some rules, you know, have some structure, or just don't have kids. Because what this baby went through, whatever she went through, we still don't know. That's the crazy thing about it, is that they found her body and people have been arrested. That's all we know at this point. But I'm sure more of this story is going to come out, and I actually think I need to just end it right there because I don't want to do a whole lot of speculating. But how many times have I done stories on my channel that involve the narrative mom and mom's boyfriend? With that scenario, even though you can flip it, but that's a lot of the stories that I do on here. But with that scenario, it just shows that a mother, like in this situation, from what I understand, seemed like she loved her boyfriend more than she loved her own child. And that has been proven right many, many times. And I think that's going to be the case in this story as well. Some type of abuse, beating, or something happened and they tried to hide it, get rid of this child's body. And I think whatever happened, I think that both of them need to suffer equally in the justice system. Not this, well, this person is a little more accountable than the other person, so we're going to give them two different. No. Death of a child, everybody needs to be held accountable. Period. Felony, life in prison, end of story. There's a dead child, and when are we going to start to stand up for our babies and have more accountability? Because things like this cannot happen, and I want people to start being scared and afraid. I want them to be thinking about, oh crap, like I saw this happen. I could spend life in prison because I saw it happen. I saw my boyfriend beat my child or do something to my child. Yes. Damn it, yes. I want people to be afraid that if you don't report something, if you don't see something, say something, like Kim Flowers says, then you should, especially if you're not going to stand on principle, if you're not going to stand on your legacy, your DNA, your family tie, the fact that these babies have nobody else to count on except for the people that brought them into this world, then yes, you should absolutely be afraid to lose your freedom. If you're going to stand by and watch the neglect of a child, the abuse of a child, and the murder of a child, you see something and don't say anything, I think you're just as big of a problem as the person who committed the crime, in my opinion. But I can guarantee you this one, we're definitely going to be doing an update when we get the coroner report, when we get a little bit more information from the courts and from the police. Definitely going to follow up with this story. So please make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Share this video to this beautiful young princess. She deserves so much better. And prayers to the father, young princess, R.I.P. Just like her name, that baby deserved serenity on this earth. She deserved the love and praise and support while she was alive. Not this freaking amazing support after she's gone. Let's start caring about our babies while they're alive. You see something, say something. Young princess, R.I.P. And hopefully everybody understands my message, especially when it comes to that GoFundMe, because people still don't get it. So much we'll see. All right, sorry about that. I'm going to end the stream properly. My bad, y'all. I messed up. I accidentally kicked all my cords out. My bad. You have a good night. Peace.
Check out this wonderful organization that I'm proud to be a part of. It's called Bags for Kids, BAGS4KIDS.org. And check out their website. They really help a lot of kids in foster care, giving them a permanent piece of luggage and also a lot of items that they might need so that they feel that they belong, which they do. So go to the website, bags4kids.org. So go for it. It's a great place and they're doing great work.
Exclusive new products that you will only see on my website at www.sayitwithchess.com. These products are made special by my mother, Keyline Designs. The hoodie blankie, the face mask, as well as the 4-in-1 African head wrap. Now the way it works, it is a reversible bonnet. It has a headband that you can wear alone. It has a matching face mask as well. Please be sure to go over to our website and check out these nice new products that you will not find anywhere else.
What's going on, guys? This your boy, DJ Just J with Just Down TNT, and I am your humble host of the AFC podcast. And people ask me all the time, what is the AFC podcast? This is a platform for us to have open and candid conversations about children who are being taken advantage of by people who are in charge of protecting them. So sometimes we discuss the latest things going on in the news, but we advocate for children first. I get so many emails and comments from people that love what I do, and I want to continue to keep bringing content that matters to YouTube. And I would like to thank you in advance for your consideration to contributing to my platform. You can help support this channel by way of the links that are in the description box of each and every video. And also, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. I would like to thank you again and welcome to the AFC podcast, where we advocate for children first. We'll see you guys on the next stream. Peace.